can be owned by Arabs. This is an agricultural society. In other words, you cut people off from their ability to make a living. On the other hand, Palestinian laborers have been replaced by foreign guest workers, so that the Palestinian population is absolutely decimated financially. I don't know how you raise children under those circumstances.
Can I stop you? Can I ask you one thing? Because the comparison to South Africa, the state's a racist state. This is a country with a free press. The only free press in the region.
Yes,
they do not
right.
cut people's hands off for stealing. They do not put you in prison for being gay. There is freedom of speech in Israel.
For Jews.
When you look across the for everyone.
Well, I beg your pardon.
It's
very
difficult. There's freedom of speech for everybody.
It's very difficult for these views to be put forward even in Britain.
Read Haaretz.
Okay, Jonathan, you respond to this then.
Haaretz is an unusual paper which does publish
so it's the exception.
opposition by Jews.
So let's get Jonathan's response. Go on, Jonathan.
The very fact that Ahmadinejad said Israel was a racist state should prove that it is not a racist state.
Why?
Israel let me speak, please. Ahmadinejad has said 5 times that Israel should be wiped off the map. Look at the reaction of civilized nations when Ahmadinejad spoke in Geneva. They all walked out. Israel is established because of racism against Jews over the centuries, starting with the ejection of Jews from Israel when the temple was disrupted in 70 AD, going through the Spanish Inquisition, going through the Dreyfus case in France, going through the Holocaust. Israel is established because Jews have been the victims of racism for 2,000 years.
Jonathan, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? And 1 second, I will come to you. I want to just set the parameters of debate for people watching. Now, there is a law of return. If you are in any way Jewish or related to somebody Jewish, you can go and live in Israel. But there is no right of return if you used to live there and you had property taken from you for a Palestinian. In what way is that not racist?
If you're going to use law of return, we would say the whole German state is racist. Because anybody who's of German ethnicity, even if they've lived for decades, generations overseas, has an automatic right of return to Germany. Now,
well, if that's the definition of a state, then of course it becomes racist.
No, right?
Of course it does.
Because you can't exclude people.
Racist. You can't exclude people from their human rights.
Article 116.1 of the German Basic Constitution confers the right to citizenship of any person who is admitted to Germany as a refugee or expellee of German ethnic origin. That is not the only country. It is the same with a number of countries.
Let's talk about Israel, please. And let's hear from Ajmal and Anne. Then I'll be back with you, and I will come to you. I promise, Chaim, and I will come to you, Selma. And I will come to you, Rabbi Laura, and I will come to you, Jonathan. Ajmal, you were saying?
I was saying, look, if any state is established based on a person's race or religion, we in the modern world, in civilized world, would oppose it because we think that's undemocratic.
So Pakistan should not exist.
Can I finish, please? You cannot come back in a second. So if any country is based on that, I think we would call it racist or exclusive. If you look at the international law, it says if anybody undermines indigenous people of any nation, that by definition is a racist state. And Israel has done that.
Can I ask you a
over
question?
the last 45 years.
I'm looking to us at are Hamas racist?
If they say it's only for Arabs, then yes, they are racist.
They come up with the vile anti-Semitism that Joseph Goebbels would be proud of.
So this is precisely my point. If anybody is anti-Semitic, anti-black, anybody in that way, of course we should call them racist.
Is Saudi Arabia a racist state?
In my opinion, if you ask me deeply, I find it absolutely offensive that when I go to Saudi Arabia, I am treated differently than the Saudi citizens. I am on record for saying Saudi Arabia has some of the worst racist policies in the world. So I don't have a problem.
But isn't that
I don't have a problem in calling a person racist if they are.
I have to say, because in this sort of gathering, I have to say, I'm not a Jew. If I'm anything, I'm an Anglo-Scottish, Irish Catholic. So I am not a Jew. I have worked in Israel and Palestine for decades. I have written things about the Israelis and their behavior, which often is disgraceful. I've been attacked by Israelis. I've written about Palestinian misbehavior, of which there's a great deal. I've nearly lost my life 3 times with suicide bombs. And I've been accused of being pro-Jewish. The problem is, if you use racism too loosely, You then have to say the Germans are a racist state. You have to say the Malaysians are a racist state because they discriminate against their Chinese minority.
Isn't it our moral duty to fight against racism wherever they happen?
Yes, but no, you don't. The problem is when people say
racism is wrong. We have to fight it. We have to eliminate
racism, they say they mean the Jews, and this is so unjust.